The moment you came here for, Marjorie Taylor Greene, red-faced and furious, storms out of Congress live on camera. No warning, no second chances, just a volcanic meltdown broadcast to millions. This wasn't a simple disagreement, it was a full-on public humiliation that shattered the political stage and left viewers speechless. And it all unfolded right before the cameras, every second capturing Greene's unraveling like a slow-motion disaster. In the next few minutes, we'll peel back the layers of that meltdown, the words that cut her deep, the mounting pressure, and the explosive climax that forced her out the door. Get ready, because what comes next is political theatre at its most brutal. And it's only getting started. It began like any other congressional session. The air thick with routine tension, the hum of cameras rolling, politicians on edge. But today, something was different. The room was charged with an undercurrent of conflict, a storm waiting to break. Across the aisle stood the architect of this storm, a determined opponent who had been sharpening their words for weeks. This wasn't just political posturing, this was a calculated provocation aimed straight at Marjorie Taylor Greene's most controversial moments. As the gavel struck and debate began, the opposition wasted no time. The accusations came fast and sharp, falsehoods, dangerous rhetoric, and a record of division that could no longer be ignored. Greene's eyes flickered with a mix of anger and disbelief. This was no ordinary criticism. It was a direct assault on her credibility and power. The chamber fell silent, everyone waiting to see how she'd respond. But beneath her defiant exterior, the cracks began to show. Every pointed word landed like a blow, and the pressure mounted. The first public signs of strain. Greene's voice wavered, a rare hesitation caught live on camera. A moment her opponents would seize on mercilessly. What exactly was said to break her? And how did the exchange spiral from tense to humiliating? Stay with us. The real unraveling begins now. The room's temperature wasn't just rising, it was scorching. Words flew back and forth like verbal grenades, each one landing with surgical precision. Marjorie Taylor Greene fought to regain control, but the ground was shifting beneath her feet. Her opponent didn't just challenge her policies, they dismantled her arguments, quoting her own past statements, exposing contradictions, and twisting her rhetoric into undeniable traps. The crowd leaned in, sensing the shift. Greene's usual fire flickered into frustration. She stumbled over her words, a rare crack in her armor. Every faltered sentence was met with sharp retorts and a chorus of gasps from the gallery. The cameras caught it all. Greene's face tightening, sweat beading on her forehead, her composure slipping like sand through fingers. Then came the moment that defined the humiliation, a sharp rebuttal that left Greene speechless for a beat, followed by a nervous laugh that only made the tension thicker. Social media exploded instantly. Clips went viral. Memes sprouted like wildfire. Her public image was cracking live before millions. This wasn't just a political loss, it was a spectacle of unraveling pride and power. Greene's confident mask was cracking, and the tide was turning visibly on live television. But humiliation alone wasn't enough. What happened next shocked everyone, the storm that would shake the very foundations of the chamber. And then the breaking point. Marjorie Taylor Greene pushed back from her desk with a suddenness that echoed through the room. The scrape of her chair was deafening in the silence that had settled. Cameras zoomed in as she rose, eyes blazing with a mix of fury and defeat. No words, no last-minute comeback. Just a furious stride toward the exit, her footsteps punctuating the stunned gasps from colleagues and the chaotic murmurs of the gallery. The walk was a statement, a refusal to endure further public shaming. As the doors slammed behind her, the chamber was left in stunned silence. Viewers at home replayed the moment endlessly. The walkout wasn't just physical, it was symbolic. A fracture in the armor, a public surrender that no political spin could fix. Social media didn't just react, it erupted. Hashtags trended, pundits debated, and commentators dissected every frame. Allies scrambled to explain. Opponents gloated openly. The moment was a viral explosion, a political earthquake that rippled far beyond Capitol Hill. Marjorie Taylor Greene's storm out wasn't just a meltdown, it was a seismic shift in the political landscape, live and unfiltered. What does this meltdown mean for Greene's future? And how will the fallout reshape the battles ahead? The story is far from over. The storm out wasn't just a headline, it was a turning point. In the hours and days that followed, the fallout exploded across every corner of the political world. Allies scrambled to spin the narrative, calling it a powerful statement or standing up against unfair attacks. But the cracks were undeniable. Even supporters whispered doubts behind closed doors, questioning whether Greene's meltdown was a sign of deeper instability. Opponents wasted no time capitalizing. They framed the walkout as proof of weakness, weaponizing it to undermine her credibility and paint her as unfit for serious leadership. Talk shows replayed the moment endlessly, experts debated the implications, and social media became a battlefield of hashtags and viral clips. But beyond the spectacle, the real stakes emerged. Fundraising took a hit, endorsements hesitated, and political analysts began forecasting a rocky road ahead. Greene's political future was suddenly uncertain, her reputation bruised, her authority shaken. The aftermath turned the live meltdown into a political liability that could reshape the power dynamics within her party and the chamber. But this meltdown wasn't an isolated event. To understand its true impact, we have to zoom out, to see how this moment fits into the bigger picture of a fractured Congress and a divided nation. Marjorie Taylor Greene's storm out was more than just personal drama. It was a symptom of a deeper fracture tearing through Congress. Polarization, tribalism, and relentless media cycles have turned political theater into the new norm. Greene's meltdown tapped into that volatile mix, a perfect storm of anger, frustration, and spectacle. Her past controversies, fiery rhetoric, and constant clashes with colleagues had built toward this crescendo. This moment wasn't an accident, it was the inevitable breaking point of a political career built on confrontation and chaos. At the same time, the incident exposed the raw nerves of a system struggling to function amid constant spectacle. It raised urgent questions. How long can Congress survive this cycle of public meltdowns and viral outrage? What does Greene's walkout say about leadership in the age of spectacle? This wasn't just a moment frozen in time. It was a warning flare, signaling more political upheaval to come, and a Congress at a crossroads. The storm out was just the opening act. What happens next will ripple through politics for months, maybe years. Stay tuned. Marjorie Taylor Greene storming out of Congress wasn't just a tantrum. It was a raw, unfiltered glimpse into a breaking point few dared to admit was coming. Live on camera, under the unforgiving spotlight of millions, her facade cracked, her fury boiled over, and she made a choice that shouted louder than any speech, "I refuse to be broken here." But in that refusal was undeniable defeat, a public unraveling that echoed far beyond the chamber walls. The humiliation wasn't just personal, it was political, it was historic. This moment didn't just humiliate a politician, it exposed a fracture line running through the very heart of American politics, a system pushed to its limits, where power no longer guarantees respect, and where every meltdown becomes a viral weapon. Marjorie Taylor Greene's storm out was more than a dramatic exit. It was a declaration that the political stage has changed forever. And as the cameras faded, the real question burned brighter than ever. What happens when the next meltdown is no longer just a moment, but the beginning of the end?